right. Welcome to the Break Room, a workforce experience. It's a podcast where we take you behind the scenes of workforce. We have an amazing team, skilled recruiters, great talent, and the workforce team that has been built up. But we're also taking you into the behind the scenes of hiring leaders, workforce experts in the region, community members, and people actually shaping the future of work. My name is Johnny Drolius, Vice President of Business Development for Workforce Employment Specialist. And I'm very excited to kick off this very first special episode. And who better to start with than our founder and owner, Ruben Juarez. Ruben, you started Workforce with a bold mission, really to be not just another staffing agency. We know those are always out there, but believing that there's a better way to connect people with opportunity, one that's focused on relationships, community, and long-term success. And I've heard multiple stories of how that got started, the really rough days and tough days and some amazing days. And we'll hear all about some of that journey today. What makes Workforce different and your vision for what you think the future of work will be and your vision for Workforce. So, Ruben, thank you for being here. Let's jump right in. I think it's important that people really understand kind of your early story, man, because, your story is what I like to say, all of our story, right? And I think you would agree with that our story and my story and other team members here reflect a lot of the people in our community. And I think it's important that I'm excited that people get to watch this and hear and learn about that, especially the younger generations of how you got to do and be who you are today. But share a little bit more about kind of where it all started.
So thank you, Johnny. Thank you. I appreciate it. So Workforce, my baby. It started what I call is the American dream. It started when I was young. My parents decided to literally leave everything behind, family, house, farm, to chase the American dream, to be able to give their kids, my two brothers and myself, an opportunity for a new life, prosperity, and to really become somebody. In their mind, becoming somebody meant being successful. So 7 years old, I remember this like it was yesterday. I remember my parents deciding in the middle of the night to just, take the leap of faith, to cross the river and to come to the United States with absolutely nothing but dreams. So, 2:00 in the morning, I remember sitting on top of El Coyote. They call coyotes are the people that help you cross the river.
In Mexico, right?
In Mexico.
Your hometown, Mexico?
Chihuahua, Mexico.
Okay, yeah.
And 2:00 in the morning, sitting on top of El Coyote's shoulders, crossing the river, and having my brothers next to me and my mom, of all people, the strongest woman in the world. My dad was already here in the States. He prepared opportunities for us to be able to get transportation and a place to stay as soon as we crossed over. So we stayed in Texas for a little while, met up with my dad, and we ended up really going farm to farm for a few years until we settled in West Michigan, Fruitport. And it was, I was young, and my parents were, they didn't have a whole lot other than dream and hard work. They were just hard work individuals. My dad worked on a farm, and, for years, he worked believe it or not, as a recruiter. He would recruit individuals to work on farms, and then he would then place people from farm to farm, apples, blueberries, depending on the crop. It was 1984 when we were given the ultimate gift, and that's citizenship. That allowed us to take advantage of what citizenship really means.
And that was the amnesty.
The amnesty to Reagan, yeah.
Yeah.
It was it allowed us to go to school, go to college. I was able to graduate college and ended up going into human resources.
Yeah.
My first job was at Heinz. They hired me as the HR coordinator.
Yeah. And you had a great career in HR. Where you started over at Heinz and moved over to Padness, and we're growing there. And what made you make that change? What changed? You built workforce from the ground up after that, but that's a scary time where a lot of people can just sit and say, I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at. What made that change for you?
So you're right. I was very comfortable. I had an awesome career in human resources. I was getting a great paying job, great benefits. But there was something that just a little fire in my belly that I always wanted to do something more. I wanted to, make a bigger impact. I wanted to um, be the leader of a company. My brother, he owns his own concrete business, so I kind of learned from him a little bit that growing up.
Entrepreneurs in your family?
But it was, yeah, it was just a perfect opportunity. I had the experience in human resources, and again, that little fire in the belly, it just wouldn't go away. That I wanted to start my own company.
What a great lesson. Almost 20 years later, right? Thriving and impacting all the people around you. What do you see in challenges, did you see back then in staffing that made you want to do things a bit differently, but also maybe the same? And what did you see that maybe said, I could do this, and also I want to do this different?
So, yeah, as a human resources professional for about 12 years prior to starting Workforce, I knew what the employers felt. I was in their shoes, so I had a real good idea of what their challenges were when it came to staffing. So I thought, hey, I have the experience, and I have the dream to start my own company, and really, I thought I could bring solutions to their problems because I was in their shoes for many years.
Yeah. And so a lot of employers that we currently work with or have worked for with in the past, but, you know, workforce is regional. The name, not many people know of it, maybe. And so, HR employers, they're going to go with that big name or the trusted or known name that's maybe national, but they kind of miss out on talent. In your own words, what makes workforce unique?
So, and I take pride in the fact that we are unique. Not only can we compete with the big boys, we're better because we are. I consider ourselves more of a family-based company and how we do things differently here. We treat talent. We don't call them temps. Talent are the individuals that come in, apply, and we place. To me, if you have relationship with your talent and you have relationship with your clients, those are the two key ingredients in really a successful agency.
Yeah, and you talked a lot about community, and what you're talking about is people first, hiring talent first, right? One of the values of workforce. How does that philosophy change the outcomes for the employee?
So, we feel when we have that relationship with the talent and we place those individuals on assignment, um, they're going to go, they're going to go out of their way for us, to do a good job. And in staffing, it's all about turnover. So if we can help that turnover by hiring the right individuals, having that relationship with them, so when they do go to work, uh, they think twice about not showing up the next day or quitting, walking off the job. Why? Because they know we care. We have that relationship with them. They don't want to let us down, and we don't want to let them down.
Yeah, we see that often. I mean, people come in to drop off eggs or give us food, or the recruiters that in all of the offices, it builds such a great relationship. That's part of that philosophy. I'm going to have you go into your bank of almost 20 years of, is there a story of an employer that you worked with or that we worked with here, or even a talent job seeker? We call them talent here. But that really shows the workforce difference. Is there something that pops out for you?
Yeah, there is. As a matter of fact, it started at the very beginning, right around 2009. We had a gentleman by the name of Grant. He was one of our talent that we placed on assignment over at Charterhouse. And unfortunately, he was in a accident at work. He was operating a saw and he ended up cutting his fingers pretty bad. So that was my first work comp injury that was pretty severe. So Grant, we went through the whole work comp situation where, yes, he was being paid, he was being taken care of. And then we found out that the work comp only paid like 60% of his pay. So we decided, you know what? No, let's do the workforce way. And we ended up paying him 100% pay while he was off on work comp. And I got to know Grant well enough where I would, because he didn't have a vehicle. Um, so I would pick him up to take him to his appointments, to the Walgreens, to, wherever he needed when it was work comp related. And we built a relationship. And I thought, you know what? This is how you treat talent.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty deep, man. Just that relationship going the extra mile. We have stories of that where recruiters, show up to people's homes to drop off steel-toe boots and that are caring that much. Just such a difference. The shift to the future, maybe the vision for the future, but some of the challenges that we're seeing with employers and we're hearing in my experience and yours is, obviously turnover challenges, coming out of COVID, kind of the workplace shifts from remote to back and manufacturing shifts, technology, um, Gen Z entering the workplace, 5 generations in the workplace. So, what do you think employers need to know right now? What is that?
So, yeah, great question. I think employers need to know right now, one of the biggest challenges I think employers do have is in the skilled trades area. If I was to give them some advice, you train within your company, knowing that there's a huge shortage of skilled trade individuals. I think that'll change in the next 10 years because it's starting to become more popular. But right now, there's a huge gap. I would say train within, have a internship, training program within your company, knowing that you're going to need these individuals in the next 5 to 7 years in these higher skilled trade positions.
Yeah, so creating kind of a pathway, right? Those to be trained in what you need, opening that access to others that to be able to do that. So, looking ahead for workforce, with the few minutes that we have left, your vision for workforce in the next 5 to 10 years. You don't have to give away all the secrets, right? But we talk about strategic planning, right? That you want to put the team and leadership through, continuing that. But over the next 5 to 10 years, where do you see workforce? What do you see our role being in the landscape?
So I see us, obviously growing. I see us ideally in the east side of the state. I can see us having an office or two, and then getting out of the state, getting out of Michigan, getting into Ohio, Indiana. So really growing our offices here, and then also growing in the community, being more well known for what we do and how we do things.
Yeah, I think the level that we do things with quality and excellence here, and it's done well. Your point is we can go into other communities and do it well with a high level. So, thank you, Ruben, for sharing your story, your time, your vision. I think what stands out with workforce is not just throwing people at the problem, right? It's about building stronger employers, stronger communities, and doing that together. So, if you're an HR leader and employer listening to this today and want to explore maybe how workforce can help you build a stronger, more diverse, reliable workforce, we would love to connect. You can reach us at my email is Johnny, JOHNNY at teamworkforce.com. Check out our website at teamworkforce.com. So this has been our very first episode. Thank you, Ruben, for being our first guest. The Break Room of Workforce Experience. My name is Johnny. Daniel Velasquez is working on the back end and helping us put this on. But we'll be back next month with real conversations, real people, and strategies that are shaping the world of work. I'm really excited for the guests that we have coming on. So thank you for listening. Share, comment, get involved, and definitely reach out with any questions. Have a good day.